North Country resident Glenn Dodge celebrated his 104th birthday on October 13th. Over 30 cars and emergency vehicles filled with friends, family, and community members lined up to showcase the impact Dodge made over the years. Dodge has lived through various world events over the century, but one that has stuck with him was his personal experience with World War II. He was drafted into the war at 23 years old while he was teaching on Grindstone Island in the St. Lawrence River.
I was drafted in October of '40. And I was deferred because I was teaching. So I taught to the middle of the year. And then I was drafted. I didn't volunteer.
Although it wasn't his choice to join the war, Dodge said he was proud to fight for his country.
I felt very strongly that it was the right thing to do. Our country's important. We want to keep what we got. And the only way to do it is to be strong. You can't be wishy-washy. You got to be able to stand up and take your part. And our country needed that.
Dodge sat down and explained to me what it was like going into a war many only hear about in history books.
Strong forces that were opposed to democracy, that were looking at us. For the attack on Pearl Harbor by Japan, those personnel in the Army, draftees like myself, you were in for the duration of the war. There was no question about it. And we had no idea which way we were going to go.
He was sworn in on April 8th in 1940 in Albany, got on a train to South Carolina, and was assigned to different units in the 8th Company Division.
I happened to be B Company, and it was good. And I just wish I had a picture of myself at that time, because I was issued a World War I uniform with the cavalry hat and all the rest, a high button collar.
Things moved quickly for Dodge. After a couple of months, he was transferred and trained as a scout. And then a couple of months later, he was transferred once again.
We formed a new division. I was one of the old-timers now, you see, and I was instructing the new one. And we took the men from the train with their suitcases and whatnot, and assigned them a place where to sleep. What else to do? We trained them as soldiers in the infantry.
He quickly moved up, becoming a second lieutenant and transferred again, which put him on his path to Europe.
And so I was transferred to C Company of the 1st Battalion as an executive officer. And I went overseas with the outfit.
Dodge explained what it was like traveling overseas with his men.
We got 2 loaves of bread and a jar of jam. And 10 guys ate those 2 loaves of bread, you know. Not at all enough to satisfy anybody. And so we decided on our own we'd open up sea rations, because we carried sea rations for landing. You had enough for 2 days. And so we opened up some sea rations and ate them.
Just a couple of months after arriving, Dodge and his men were reminded of the cruel reality of the war they were in. The
very same ship was sunk as they were pulled into the harbor. The German submarine sunk it and lost a lot of men. About 800 were lost to that deal. And the people who ran the harbor master, did not realize what was going on. They didn't have a rescue out to get them out and so on. Such a like, felt so glad that I was on that trip.
Despite being in near-death situations, his focus remained on the reason he was there in the first place.
You know this is going to happen before it even starts, most generally. And of course there was a fear, but adrenaline in the person was, well, my job is to do this, and that's what I'm doing. And even though these other things are happening around you, you have to set them aside and do your job.
He explained the difficulty he faced while leading his group of men into combat, including the infamous Battle of the Bulge.
We get up there are guys that are frightened. They're scared, they don't know what they're going for. They don't want to go into battle. I was surprised as all get out. I had old men with me yet.
Dodge's compassion shone through, even when talking about going up against German soldiers.
Where the Germans are trying to get out of the Bulge because they're being pinched from the south and the north, and they're trying to get through that valley now, or bring in ammunition and food, because They were running out. I felt sorry for them. There's nothing the guys could do if they didn't have food, didn't have ammunition and fuel for their vehicles. But you still had to take them, take them prisoner.
He was injured during the battle when a piece of shrapnel went into his right arm.
Laying some artillery on us, trying to drive us off the hill. And a little piece went in the arm and settled in the bone in the elbow. And I couldn't move the damn thing.
Dodge later received the Purple Heart Award for the injury, which he proudly displayed on his tie. Even after the war concluded, Dodge was not done serving his country. He signed up for the reserves and served until 1967. He continued to benefit the community by teaching, serving on the village board, at the fire department, and working with a nonprofit senior housing company. Dodge ended saying that his memories of Europe were enough for him, and hasn't returned since he left the war.
Do I want to go back? No, never did. No, I saw enough of Europe right at the ground level. I didn't care to go back.